Hi, I'm Heather French Henry, the host of Heart of Gold, a monthly program whose mission is to highlight examples of what makes Louisville, Kentucky the most compassionate city in the world, as declared by Mayor Greg Fisher. This series features local nonprofit organizations of all shapes and sizes, which are working to improve the quality of life for all Louisville citizens. Thank you for joining us, and a special thanks to WHS-TV for generously producing this series. This particular segment features Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky. The Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky is a statewide organization that serves those affected by brain injury through advocacy, prevention, outreach, service, and support. The Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky has a board of directors in 4 Kentucky communities and support groups throughout the Commonwealth. We're here today with the Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky Executive Director, Chell Austin. Chell, so good to have you with us here today. Excellent. You all do such tremendous work, and I know that the traumatic brain injury and the work that you're doing, the Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky, is a pretty hot topic right now across the United States and worldwide. I mean, spanning the ages from children to military veterans and elderly alike. So tell me, what is a brain injury and how it affects individuals and families?
Yes, there's no more important part of your body than the brain. It controls everything. From everything from speech to talk to walk, everything. And when you have a brain injury, one or all of 3 things can happen. You can be affected physically, you can be affected emotionally, or you can be affected cognitively. And usually it's some sort of combination of the 3. And it's a devastating injury. It's an injury that affects not just the person, but the entire family and everybody that surrounds them.
And sometimes the traumatic brain injuries don't show up immediately and can have lasting effects that show up many years later.
That's true. The mild brain injuries have that effect, and of course it's only mild if it's not you.
That's exactly right. It's always the most important when it's happening to you.
Exactly.
So tell me about the Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky's unique outreach programs. I know that we've worked on several outreaches together in various ways. Tell me a little bit about how you do that.
Well, when a family suffers a brain injury, when a member of a family, it's a traumatic event, it turns the world upside down. And we go to the hospital and the rehab centers to meet with them because they don't know what to do. They're being treated medically, but they have no idea what resources are available, what options are, and actually what they're facing. So we meet with them, give them resource information, and let them know that there's a place that they can be in contact with as they continue down the journey. And many of them do continue that contact for quite a while, a lot of times a lifetime.
And I know through as much tragedy that a traumatic brain injury can cause in a family or to an individual, but there are also successes, the silver lining, certainly. Do you have a particular story you'd like to share or instance?
Well, there's so many. We have a survivor dinner every year where all folks that survive brain injury, doesn't mean they lead the life they led before, come and celebrate. But there are people that have been deemed that they were going to not be able to survive, that they were going to be basically in a brain dead situation, and they could come out of it and lead productive lives, you know, and it happens all the time. And really, we define it as, you know, going into a life that is worth living and that, you know, is productive for you.
And certainly education and awareness are key, and
Oh,
you and I have
absolutely.
worked together on a very special group of people who are close to my heart, and those are our military veterans.
Oh,
Can you
yes.
share with the audience a little bit about your work with
Absolutely.
military veterans?
The wars that we've fought in the last decade or so have really not been bullet wars, they've been explosion wars, which have resulted in lots and lots of brain injuries. And many of these veterans come back, and many of them are unaware that they've been injured. And they may be having various symptoms of emotional problems like we've talked about, or cognitive problems, or any kind of problems. But they don't know really what's causing this. And many times it can be confused, and many of the symptoms mirror PTSD. So there's sort of a mix and a kind of a crossover there. And so you basically what we try to do with veterans is we're working with folks that are kind of outside the system, trying to identify who they are and try to draw them into to find places that can maybe help them with some of their issues.
Well, and that leads me to the next question. What types of things do you do to educate Kentuckians about brain injury and its impact on the citizens of Kentucky and really globally?
Well, there's several ways. One is like what we're doing here. Also, when we do prevention events, and we go out and we give helmets to children for bicycles and do these kinds of things, you're educating them about brain injury safety. We put on several conferences. We're putting on a conference in Lexington on the 25th of this month on brain injury for professionals, and also for sometimes for lay people as well with information, basic information about brain injury, and so that's all part of it, is educating people about brain injury, because it's such a huge problem. 19% of Kentuckians are affected by brain injury. That's a staggering number.
That is staggering. Is there any cure, known cure for types of brain injuries?
There is not a cure of brain injury. There's only prevention. Now, you can get rehabilitation, and you can improve symptoms, and you can walk better, talk better, you can improve your cognitive abilities, but as far as a cure, no. There's not a cure yet.
Well, and is it also, you were saying some statistics, but is it true that brain injuries are the #1 disabler for children who were ages 0 to 4?
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. Yes. Being a mother, I'm not quite sure I knew that statistic was that
Most
high.
people don't. Number
Wow.
one, and it's, well, the child's brain, as you know, is not really formed, and it's very easily damaged. And so through either child abuse, which is, intentional types of situations, or dropping children, various types of accidents, cars. That's why the booster seat legislation that we were part of recently, was so very important. Children are very vulnerable to brain injuries. And
how can other people get involved, the community? I always love to give the community a chance to be involved. A lot of people want to help in various different causes, and they just don't know how. So can the community be involved in helping you all spread the word?
Absolutely. Our website is www.biak.us, and our numbers there, our contact information there. That's the best thing I can tell you, is to go to the website, and we would love to get involved with you.
I know that we've done an event together in Lexington with the Lexington Legends, and you're continuing to do great work all across the state. Is there one piece of information that you would like to tell the community at large right now about the Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky, that one snippet that they can take away?
Well, one of the big things that we do is we go to the legislature and advocate for brain injured folks. And we have been very responsible for the waiver programs and the Brain Injury Trust Fund and all the services that brain injured folks get. And I wanted to make sure that we mentioned that, because we are constantly advocating for our folks.
That's right, because we can make a difference in our community, but making a difference legislatively is extremely important, because that's the future.
Correct, and they need the support and services as well, exactly.
On what can we do as parents, in going back to the child care part, to prevent brain injury? You mentioned the car seats, but also bicycles. Are there things that parents aren't being taught that we need to be taught for our children's safety?
Well, I think you touched on it. I think also setting the right example. If you're a parent, you're going to ride a bicycle, put a helmet on yourself. As well as, asking your child to put a helmet on. But, that's just being aware of, for brain injury. There's going to be risks in life. We're not asking people to not
wrap yourself in a bubble.
Don't do anything, okay? But when you do involve yourself in activities, take the proper precautions, I would say.
Excellent. Shell, thank you so much. And thanks to the Brain Injury Alliance of Kentucky for enriching the lives of Kentuckians everywhere, and of course for touching one of our special populations, our military veterans. And for more information, you can visit www.biak.us. This segment features Teach Kentucky. For 13 years, Teach Kentucky has recruited to the Louisville region college graduates with outstanding academic credentials who seek to launch a long-term career in education. Participants earn their alternative route teaching certification in education at the University of Louisville while teaching in Jefferson County Public Schools. The program employs a multi-layered approach to teacher preparation and support that helps their teachers to positively impact the lives of Louisville school children. The majority of Teach Kentucky teachers work in the county's priority schools, where passionate and dedicated educators are most needed. So joining me here today, we have Round Claypool, who's the president, and DeLorean Burton, who teaches 8th grade social studies at Frederick Law Olmsted Academy North and a student at Summer Principals Academy at Teachers College at Columbia University. So, Ron, let me start with you a little bit. So, Teach Kentucky seems like it reaches, I mean, it's a national perspective, bringing qualified persons to Kentucky, to Louisville to teach. So, tell me about the track record. It's pretty impressive, and tell us about the mission, because it's pretty unique.
So, right, we had a lot of options 13 years ago, but at the heart, we wanted to bring net new people to the community, and we thought, let's be intentional in how we invite those folks. Let's invite people that can make a contribution both through their individual characteristics, but also for what they do. And so teaching in public schools looked like a very worthy mission to try to bring bright and talented people that otherwise wouldn't be here in the state. So, net new ed.
So, DeLorean, were you one of those teachers that were brought in?
Yes.
So tell me about your story, because I know your resume is pretty impressive, and you seem really young for everything that you've done. So why the choice to become an educator? Where did you come here to us from, and yeah, and what your future is?
Well, I come from Lexington,
Okay.
and I attended the University of Virginia. Was looking for a variety of options, looking to stay in Virginia, looking to come back to the Commonwealth, and for some reason the Commonwealth just kept calling me back, and I was looking for a few options, and I got in contact with a few contacts with Mr. Claypool, talked to him for a bit, and he invited me down for a really hospitable weekend with other candidates, and we really enjoyed ourselves. And eventually that led me to working within JCPS and staying here in Louisville.
So how do you like 8th grade social studies?
8th grade social studies is a very fun time. It's very fun.
Well, as a mother who has a daughter in middle school, one that's a freshman in high school,
Wow.
you know, that's a very challenging time, and it really takes a special personality. I mean, do you find that more and more young people are wanting to teach middle and high school? I mean, those are challenging years.
Those are definitely challenging years. I think that people are starting to understand the social and emotional needs of students during those times, and you'll find that there are unique skill set of teachers, of individuals who want to teach during those years, and so a lot of people want to go to elementary or high school, but middle school is a very special time. So.
It's an impressionable time,
Absolutely.
certainly.
Yeah, I was going to just add to that. So when we started Teach Kentucky, I really imagined we'd be recruiting mostly high school teachers, but we came to find that, you know, this very formative period in kids' lives is the moment when they make a decision as to whether they're going to follow the kind of rules or not. So it's really critical to have good people at the middle school
Well,
level.
and then that leads me to, you know, the environment with which you teach in. Tell us a little bit about that. I know as a mom of a middle schooler, it's a different environment wherever you go, certainly, but there are some fundamental things, some common denominators, but talk specifically about the environment you teach in.
Absolutely. I teach at Frederick Law Olmsted Academy North. It's a single-sex school which focuses on the education of young men, and we have really worked to build an inclusive environment where a student from a variety of cultures, backgrounds, nationalities, ethnicities, variety of perspectives can come and understand and appreciate the students around them, their environment, their educational experience. Also, we've really worked to make sure that we promote a very positive culture and climate within our classrooms. I think you'll see that district-wide within JCPS, though, that it's very intentional about promoting a very happy, a very good educational experience for our students. This model is being replicated to several other schools, not just Frederick Law Olmsted Academy North.
Well, and when you talk about the atmosphere that's created within JCPS, I certainly can concur with that, but also it spills over into the community. So you're a young professional in Louisville, and of course we're the most compassionate city in the world. Might be arguable, but we'll take that title, certainly. So how do you find it being a young professional, young educator here in the city of Louisville?
Well, that's actually what attracted me to Louisville, to stay here and to want to commit to Louisville, just understanding how this community really works to benefit and works to strengthen its citizens. I've really been really encouraged by the generosity of all the citizens here, whether it be young or old, just how intentional everyone is in making this a wonderful, very compassionate city.
That's right. Now, Ron, talk about the application process, the selection process. I mean, gosh, you would like to think he's a diamond in the rough, but hopefully there are a lot of diamonds out there that you're finding to bring in, and how do you find those?
Sure, that's a great question. So we regard ourselves as national recruitment for local education. We had 375 applicants last year from all across the country. We had participants from Maine, Virginia, Florida, Texas, California, Washington State, Michigan. So it really is bringing people that would not be here otherwise. And we try to hit a very high standard. So there are criteria in the selection process that are way above the typical norms in Kentucky. And then we bring people here, as DeLorean talked about, for recruiting weekend, so we get that kind of 360 look at their disposition and the intangibles that are so important for an educator.
Well, that's excellent. Now, tell me about the future of Teach Kentucky. Do you see this expanding? You had mentioned, Lauren, that you're expanding into other schools as well. What's the future of this?
So I think we were at 30 participants this last year. We want to go to 40. We want to keep the strong, intimate environment. There's a tremendous amount of support that we're providing to these young people in addition to their master's program. So we want to retain that, but we think we can grow the program a little bit, increase our impact, and you know, the community needs all the bright young people we can get, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And as a parent, I appreciate that. How can people in the community become involved with Teach Kentucky?
Sure. Do you want to?
Oh, there's a multitude of ways. There's several people, there's several individuals who work to form really strategic partnerships within Teach Kentucky that will help them to strengthen the organization from the ground up. Anyone, whether it be young, old, from any type of perspective, can contact Mr. Claypool, can contact myself, can contact anyone that is a JCPS educator that's with the Teach Kentucky organization in order to get involved. Right. There are tons of ways. There are a lot of ways that anyone can get involved, and we'll use you. We'll use you any way you'd like.
And we've carved out a specific role for retired teachers. So we have what we call retired teacher advocates. They go back in to the classroom. They're supporting our new teachers in that first critical fall. So, you know, we try to find a way to use as many people as we can.
And especially with that type of experience,
Right,
and I mean, just in that knowledge, sometimes you can't replace experience, certainly. So I'm sure the retired teachers certainly love that. So thank you so much for joining us, Teach Kentucky. To find out more about Teach Kentucky, log on to www.teachkentucky.com. And for more about Compassionate Louisville, log on to www.compassionatelouisville.org. This segment features Nativity Academy at St. Boniface. Nativity Academy is an independent Catholic middle school and social service located in downtown Louisville, Kentucky at St. Boniface Church. The school, which is part of a national coalition, serves 5th and 8th grade students who are committed to achievement and whose families demonstrate financial need. Check out this video to find out more.
We were founded in 2003.
They were able to kind of take this concept of a full scholarship Catholic school for kids who can't afford it and make it a reality, both financially and logistically.
And so if we can do a small part here with not only educating children, but helping their family come above that, we're creating a better Louisville.
And here to share more about the work Nativity Academy has been doing in our community is Executive Director Karen Nord and Advancement Director Brooke Burnett. Good afternoon, ladies. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good to see you. So, Brooke, tell me a little bit about what the Nativity Academy model looks like.
Sure. So Nativity Academy, as you mentioned, it's a middle school and social service that serves students 5th through 8th grade, and they're deliberately in single-sex classes. They are, it's a small class size, so there's less than 15 students per class, and they are required to stay for after-school programming. So it's a long day. They're there from about 7 till 5:30. And one of the other things about us that makes the model unique is that we have support through post-secondary. So once our students graduate from Nativity Academy, we keep up with them through high school and then on through post-secondary as well.
Do you have a lot of kids that you keep in touch with even after they
We do.
graduated
We
and
do.
on to college?
Yes.
And
Many kids.
that must be a great success for you to feel
It
that you
is.
had that type of accomplishment. So Carol, tell me about the students that you do serve, and tell me about their future.
Okay, our students, as we said, are middle school students, grades 5 through 8, and they come from families who demonstrate financial need, who might otherwise not have a shot at a private education. And so they come mainly from the urban core. They cross the urban core out through Churchill Downs area, areas where there aren't schools offered for them, for their demographic. And they come to us, and with our model, very unique model, we are able to serve them. Many of them come underserved. They may have moved from many schools, and a school that hasn't met their needs. So the wraparound services really do help them be successful on into their high school and post-secondary years.
So the amount of attention, obviously, if you have small classes, then the student-to-teacher ratio is quite nice then, makes a big impact.
Yes, yes, it does. It really helps them to have that very focused, strict, and rigorous environment.
Tell me about the funding for Nativity Academy.
Sure. So Nativity is very lucky to have a lot of generous donors, and one of the things that more than half of our budget is made up of our student sponsorship program and then individual gifts. About a fourth of it is made up from our institutional sponsors and also our foundational and corporate support, and then about 25% as well comes through our special events.
Since this is a part of the Compassionate series, you know, how do you feel that Nativity Academy affects change as far as the compassionate community model is taken?
Sure. So one of the great things about the model is that we empower our students to be leaders of their community. So it's more than just a school. It's more than just a middle school. It really creates the leaders of tomorrow in their community and allows them to see what service looks like. They come from homes that maybe haven't showed them what a service project can look like. So that's one of the mandatory things that we do is show them, you know, how can we serve others? How can we be leaders in our community? And they take that and they continue that trajectory into high school and on to post-secondary.
Now, Carol, it sounds like this is just yet one component of what makes Nativity Academy unique. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Absolutely. The model is very unique. I mean, in terms of the way that we serve our families, we're not just serving the students, we also serve the families, and it's sort of wraparound services. So our day is very long. It's extended day so that we can work with the academic component, and that's the extended day program, a mandatory program where we offer tutoring, enrichment, but the enrichment classes are the fun part of the day. They don't always get to do things like ballet or drum corps, so those are unique pieces. And then the graduate support is probably the key, the linchpin that pulls it all together. We place them in high schools, we do visits throughout the school year, we help prepare them for post-secondary. Their families don't know the post-secondary model. They haven't been there, so we take them on tours and things.
Well, tell me what types of high school or where do these kids go to after they come
The
through
majority
your
of our students are in the Catholic high schools in the Louisville area. They're great partners with us. Our families demonstrate full financial needs, so we're able to work with them and get it to a payment where our families can afford to access that. But we also have some students in some of our public schools, a couple at Ballard, Manual, Brown, a few like that. But we like to be able to keep them close at hand because we make those visits.
That's excellent. So, Brooke, I'm sure you all have a lot of success stories. Is there one that comes to mind?
Yes, it just brings me joy to think about this because we celebrated last year our first college graduate from Hanover. She was on track and she graduated in 4 years, and she was a communications major and a triple minor. And so to celebrate this big occasion for Nativity, we put out some bus ads, and our friends over at TARC and Lamar Advertising, they actually made me a little prototype of our bus. And Felicia, our graduate, is on there, and it says congratulations to our first college graduate, Felicia. And while we've had several more graduates since then, this is just a really exciting moment for Nativity Academy.
It is, and I think I've pulled up behind a bus with
Yes,
her photo on it.
that was the goal.
Excellent. That is wonderful.
Yeah.
So tell me what makes Nativity Academy different from other schools like the West End School.
Sure, absolutely. So our model is different in that, like Carol did a great job of explaining those wraparound services. We do follow our students into high school and post-secondary, so they have a safe space to come back to, mentorship and peer mentorship. But also, our students get to go home at the end of the day. They have a very long day. Believe me, they feel the effect of a 7 to 5:30 day. But we serve boys and girls that do get to go home at the end of the day, and it's a joy to see them early in the morning. So,
Is there a way that the community can be involved to help you all out at Nativity Academy?
Well, Nativity is very volunteer driven. With all the programs that we offer, we really are a staff of about 20. And so we depend heavily on volunteers. They'll come in and maybe help in our cafeteria, serve on the lunch line. We have people who come in and do tutoring. You know, I'm able to give an hour on Tuesday afternoon, or they teach an enrichment class. People kind of, we ask them, what do you enjoy? What are your skills and talents? And we have anything from girl power, where we taught young women to have a voice. And things like model making or things. So we encourage people, if you have some time and you'd like to get involved with the young people, the future of tomorrow, come out and we can find a spot for you.
And also they can find out more about Nativity Academy at www.nativitylouisville.org. There's a lot of ways to give back. We want to thank you, Carol and Brooke, for being on board, and we want to thank Nativity Academy for your unique way of spreading compassionate education opportunities throughout Louisville. And also to find out more, you can go to www.compassionatelouisville.org. I'm Heather French Henry, and thank you for joining us for Heart of Gold.